And our lead this hour to begin the night is from Pro Bouncy Ball. But I'm not going to start with that. I'm not starting with what you think I'm starting with. I'm going to keep you off balance. So a lot of chatter in the last couple of weeks, really since the NBA Finals when we had that dud of an NBA Finals with OKC and Indiana, a bit of poison for pro basketball. So a lot of noise about the salary cap, and it's not right. They got to change it. It's ugly, and they got to do something, this hardline cap. So I was somewhat recently contacted by someone who knows a thing or two about the workings of the business of basketball and very knowledgeable in that department. They know what they're talking about, and, of course, they know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two, and this particular person, we'll just say, has given me some good intel in the past. Now, this person does not bat 1,000. However, if they were a baseball player, they'd be like Mr. Padre Tony Gwynn. So pretty good batting average. Get to the point, please. All right, so let me boil this down. So the word on the street is that despite the public opinion that the big market teams like the Celtics and the Lakers and the Clippers and the Knicks, teams like that, Warriors, despite the buzz that the big market owners do not like this, they're trying to change the salary cap because it is so aggressive towards teams that spend a lot of money. Well, it turns out, according to my insider, that the owners actually love the hard cap, the hard line cap. They like the apron. And the reason they like that is it gives them for something like we have on our show, the golden ticket, if you will, to keep costs down, right? You get a golden ticket. So let us discuss the question. With these whispers that NBA owners actually love the second apron of the salary cap, and they have no serious plans to dramatically change it despite speculation to the contrary, do you buy or sell this? Do you buy or sell this? So I've got my observations on this. I've got loaded dice, gumbo, and Coachella. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a brick house is what we're going to make. So number one. I said number one. That's right. So I am buying this. I'm not selling it. I'm buying it. And I believe the fix is in, if you will, not to be too dramatic, but the NBA's Billionaire Boys Club, the owners of the NBA, are grinning from ear to ear. They have a Cheshire Cat smile. Just can't get enough of this. And the reason why, the secret on this is as we talked about, the owners like it, that the cap is the built-in get-out-of-jail-free card. It's kind of like if you're in high school and you're, one of your parents is a cop and you get in trouble. You say, oh, yeah, my so-and-so's a cop. Yeah, all right, I'll give you a break on this, And so the oligarchs and the aristocrats are popping champagne over the second apron chokehold, right? You talk about paying dividends, and they don't get to keep everything, but they get to keep a lot more, right? And their wallet's fatter and all that stuff. So I buy this conspiracy. I would say don't be hornswoggled by all the rhetoric that the NBA owners toss out and the friends of the league in the media about competitive balance. They give these sermons about that and the brutal penalties. And there are penalties. A loss of draft picks, no mid-level exception, things like that. And not to get into the minutia, but the trade market is limited. But this is all about the green, but not the green team, the greenbacks. And it's not about winning, not about that. You know what it is? It's a classic sports radio caller to this show from about 20 years ago. A guy named Zigzag used to call the show, one of my regular callers, one of the great characters on the show, Zigzag. And then, unfortunately, he grew up and no longer was Zigzag. But this is a misdirection play, right? The NBA owners are playing with loaded dice. The dice are loaded. The robber barons set the rules, and if you cross this magic line, I think it's like $190-something million or whatever, then all of a sudden, there's like alarm bells that go off and that whole thing. And now, for some owners, they don't give a crap. Like Steve Ballmer He goes to the bathroom, his morning bowel movement, and he makes enough money to cover all of the fees and all that stuff. And Joe Lacob with the Warriors doesn't seem to care too much. He's not really sweating. And so they've got all the cash they could possibly want. However, for the others, if they choose to play this card, they can dump players, avoid big signings. Like, for example, the Boston Celtics are doing that right now. And at the same time, they can cry wolf. It's just unsustainable. The salaries. Police, I say. Police. They are pocketing massive profits. And the owners, they're having a yacht party, and they're laughing at all the commoners, right? They get the private jets, all that, and they got the money. Good for them. And we want to keep the players. Oh, yeah, we want to keep that player, but I'm sorry. That's actually more of an asset than a player, and everyone wants to play the victim. They all play the victim. Players want to play the victim. Owners want to play the victim. But in terms of the owners, spoiler alert, they are the architects of this, and they've done this to inflate the profit margin and also give them plausible deniability when they get rid of a player deemed popular. All right, now, page 2. To La La Land we go. A big story the last couple weeks in the NBA. Malcontent, overrated stiff Deandre Ayton joining the Lakers after being fired by the Portland Trailblazers and dumped by the Phoenix Suns. So Deandre Ayton was recently asked if he had heard from LeBron James or Luka Doncic. And he revealed, well, let's go to the audio tape. Here's what Deandre had to say. Take a listen.
Hey, Deandre, have you spoken to LeBron? Have you spoken to Luka?
Not really yet, but I've definitely got a text from Luka. I know how the offseason goes. This is not my first rodeo. People are probably busy and, training and having times with their families, but I'm just waiting. I'm just really just trying to integrate myself with the team and get to know everybody.
All right, that was, I think that was our buddy Sedano, right? Used to work here. Fox Sports Radio alumni guy, Sedano, at the 710 over there. All right, so he said, if you didn't understand what DeAndre Ayton said, he said, listen, I'm still waiting on LeBron. Luka sent a text, though, and then DeAndre made a bunch of excuses about the offseason and all that. So that's a great jumping-off point. That is a great jumping-off point. So DeAndre Ayton says he still hasn't spoken with LeBron James, but Luka text him after his Laker agreement there. So what do you read into this? So if you cut through the haze, people in L.A. call it haze. Other people call it smog. But if you cut through that, Luka, he's the new golden boy, right? Luka's the new golden boy for the Lakers and all that. And so he found time to tap a text. Meanwhile, LeBron, he's so busy in his offseason, he cannot be bothered to send a measly emoji. Because we all know it takes a lot of time to grab your phone. You got to futz around with your thumbs. You got to go to the message thing. You got to find the number. And then you got to click the proper emoji. Do you do the smiley emoji? Do you do the crying emoji? Like, which emoji do you do? And then you've got to click send on it. And that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work for LeBron. I understand. The man's in his 40s now. He could injure a fingernail, and we don't want that. We do not want that. All right, so here's the deal. That is not obviously an oversight. After several minutes of deliberation, that is a statement by LeBron James. Now, the rumor has it that LeBron not exactly doing cartwheels about the possibility of playing with DeAndre Ayton. And as I learned years ago, when I first got into the radio world, that silence is golden, but not if you're doing a talk show. It suggests that LeBron's not buying in. But it's also bigger than that. If you think of it in terms of gumbo, So the word on the street is King James is still stewing like gumbo over the clout that he still has some, but not that much. And that the Lakers, it's like they started dating the new hot girl's Luka, and he's the old woman, and he's like, well, I've been around for a while, but no, we like Luka. Luka's hotter. And Luka's the one that's now got the keys. So this is the theory And so LeBron's like, well, man, this blows. It feels like a rental car. And the Lakers are Luka's team. And LeBron, he's not blind Scott or Inca Terror or blind Emmett or Stevie Meatballs or any of the other blind listeners. So he sees the writing on the wall. And the writing is in Slovenian. And it's like, the Lakers are so into Luka at this moment. I wouldn't be shocked if Luka does a podcast with somebody. The Lakers fire J.J. Redick and hire whoever Luka gets to host a podcast with him, because that's what they did with J.J. Redick, right? So file this at this point. File this as a quiet protest against the Laker front office and the shifting in allegiances. And LeBron, he's got the PP, right? He's pouting and plotting. He's pouting and plotting at this point. Stay tuned. More developments to come in the offseason soap opera from Pro Pouncy Ball. All right, now, final point. So I got a bunch of emails. I say a bunch. I got 3 emails. You're going to start the show with that game in Vegas. I know you are. No. No. In fact, I didn't even really want to talk about this, but I will address it. And I will address the question of why we did not begin this extra spicy Maller monologue with the, let me check my notes here, Summer League matchup between Cooper Flagg of the Mavericks and Bronny James, the Nepo baby. So why did we not begin the night with that? So the reason we did not, my belief, and I've been to the Summer League. It used to be in L.A., it was in Irvine at one point. It was in Long Beach. So I've been to the Summer League in years past, many years ago. The NBA Summer League is the equivalent of trying to pass off a night, like a Friday night karaoke, as going to Coachella. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same. They're just doing lip syncing, but it's the same. You're drinking beer. It's cheaper. There's no dirt. It's like going to Coachella. I mean, come on. And we're talking about, in the Summer League, the dudes who most of them won't make the rotation. Most will never sniff any meaningful minutes in the NBA. Half of them won't even make an NBA roster. Maybe they'll play in Europe or they'll be selling real estate before the next NBA season. It's amateur hour. You know where the megastars are in the NBA? They're either golfing in Lake Tahoe, or they're getting suntan lotion on, and they're eating appetizers and drinking cocktails on mega yachts in the south of France. And now other people say, well, it's player development, Ben. You just don't get it. And to that I say it's nonsense, right? If we wanted to watch the developmental project, then would they sell tickets to go to like a middle school science fair or something like that? And if you watch it, listen, if you watch it, enjoy it, fine. Do whatever you got to do. I just don't believe it's worthy of breaking it down, a full-fledged Maller monologue on the bully pulpit that we have here. And we don't even talk. I was thinking about this earlier. We don't even talk about the NBA regular season games until it used to be Christmas. We used to always kid, well, we don't talk basketball till Christmas, like the games, because nobody pays attention. But now we've moved all the way past New Year's. We're now about Valentine's Day. It's like the Valentine's Day massacre. It's like, well, we'll talk about it Valentine's Day. And why is that? Well, load management. And these games are glorified cardio games before that. So we're not going to talk about regular season NBA games. Then why would we talk about a knockoff version? It's like, back in the old days, you'd come across, if you're of a certain age, you know what I'm about to say here, you'd come across a bootleg DVD that you'd find in a parking lot at a Quickie Mart. You're like, well, okay. So if you want me to break down something in Vegas, I would much rather talk about the fact that Penn and Teller are able to still sell tickets and make illusions in their 70s. They have a stage show in Vegas. How about Carrot Top, who has continued to sell tickets, doing prop comedy, and has his own Vegas residency. He's had it for years. Right? So to recap, we do not do full Maller monologues on the Vegas Summer League because we respect your time and the value and the power, the almighty microphones of FSR. So that's the inside skinny on that.